that's not my goal, but it's just like these drawdowns now that hurt you in the short term, those are what turn you into a great trader, because eventually once you get everything sorted out, your risk, your setup, and once everything is clicking again, you have that confidence back, that will turn into a blip. Like it might turn into an unnoticeable amount of money on your equity curve.
You're listening to the SteadyTrade Podcast. The SteadyTrade Podcast.
Welcome to the SteadyTrade Podcast with your host, Stephen Johnson, Jeevan Stonson, and for a rare occasion, but hopefully not the last, Bryce Tuohey. Bryce Tuohey, and that's it. That's the introduction, because Tim Bohen's not here, and he does a dead long introduction. That's not me. Short and sweet, to the point. Welcome, Bryce. How's it going? Are you a co-host? You're kind of a co-host.
Yeah. Dude, I'm doing well. We're as we were talking a little bit before, and we'll get into, trading's been a little in a slump here, but besides that, like honestly, no complaints at all, man. Life's been good to me, and I'm just trying to take that all in still, and then get ready for probably, no guarantees in trading, as we all know, but we also do know the market tends to heat up towards the end of the fall and into the winter. So trying to just like mentally prepare for hopefully some crazy runners and do that. Trying to get some traveling out of the way right now, like you're doing.
Dude, no, same. I mean, for me, I've just done Portugal in a surf camp, and then obviously I'm in Playa del Carmen in Mexico now. You've been traveling as well. But if you're anything like me, if you have a red month, like I'm having a red month, I'm walking through the streets of Mexico thinking I'm going to be homeless soon. I don't know what to do. But with all the I'm like walking around the streets thinking, will I be sleeping in that dumpster one day and next year if I lose it all?
All you really have to do though is before we go completely broke with our red month, we just have to move to be homeless. So that way we have no expenses and we still have at least a little bit of money from our trading profits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. And you'll make some money back in. Do you know what I mean? So it's like multiple revenues.
Multiple streams of income. That is exactly how they meant it.
But no, dude, I mean, like ultimately what I want to say is it's a privilege to talk before we talk stocks. It's a privilege to talk to you. It's a privilege to like have this space with you. And dude, like you've got to think like, dude, I'm traveling the world, right? I'm traveling the world. I'm in Playa del Carmen. I'm about to go on a date with a beautiful Mexican woman.
Yes.
There'll be BS tonight, like with a group of travelers. Like, dude, I'm living the dream. But even if you're living this good life, dude, one loss in trade, and I'm just going to bed early, lying in bed depressed.
No, and it's crazy to think of it that way, because like honestly, that is how I was when I did most of my traveling end of August, early September, and that is more or less when my downswing started, and it made it harder for me to. It's bad. That's when I realized I probably shouldn't trade on vacation, because it made it a lot harder to enjoy the vacation when you see those red numbers. You're like, all right, well, I'm spending money traveling. I shouldn't be trading anyways because I'm distracted. And now I'm just losing money. Like taking losses as a trader is hard enough. And then you add all these other factors onto it. And it's like, oh, what am I doing? But you do it the right way, right? Like you got to enjoy the time you're on vacation and like realize how grateful, we should be to be in these spots.
Yeah, like literally, dude, like life couldn't be better. But being like a trader and being obsessed with trading, it's almost like you can't take it off. And then when you do come back, you just take a random trade to get that dopamine hit. And it's a stupid trade, and your head's not in it. Like you've got to be totally in the zone. That's why there's a book called In the Zone.
Yes, I completely agree. You have to be in the zone. It's a necessity in trading. And we all know that. And we just like, it's hard to follow that sometimes. And
dude, like we're both chancers in life, right? We're both like the odd gamble, right? So we need to be fully in the zone, like no distractions. There's just too many distractions. When there's too many distractions around, like the sun's shining, I can jump in the sea, girls are everywhere. There's new nightclubs in Mexico that I've never been to. They look crazy. It's hard to trade, so I've gone down to a small account.
Yeah, no, and that's like one of the biggest things that always helps me whenever like I'm going through a slump is to remove every distraction while I'm trading, because when things are hot and like when I'm in the zone, I do a really good job at drowning out everything else, drowning out all the noise. And, whether that is like actual, outside life or like our social media lives, I'm going to try to drown that out. And so like, I'll go enjoy my life after the market's done or after I'm done trading. But like, I don't want to, again, going back to the traveling thing, like I don't want to be trying to travel around and place trades. You got to be completely focused. And that's definitely been a big lesson I've learned the past few months.
No, and absolutely the exact same for me. Like I just took a massive red month for no reason. Not massive, but not the worst I've ever had. But I took a bad red month. But I mean, what was your? I mean, I've saw some tweets of yours that looked negative. Not negative. They looked like you were in the red. So do you want to? How's the month been going? I've been out of it completely. Like, what's been going on with Bryce?
Yeah, what's been going on with Bryce is I also have a red month, quite a hefty red. Well, it's hard because I haven't had a red month since I became profitable.
Shit.
Which has been well over, I don't think I've had a red month. Oh man, it might be going back to 2019. Which it's I've had red weeks, but red month, like it's new to me and it's something I knew would happen. I knew it would come along. But for me, I think I'm right about 50,000 this month, which saying that number out loud, it still hurts, but I have to keep it all in perspective. Like even August, which was one of my slowest months of the year, was $80,000 green. So I got to keep it in perspective, but it's hard to keep in perspective.
No, but I mean, if you're anything like me, catastrophize. Like if the slightest thing goes wrong, and 50,000 is a lot in normal life, but not a lot in your life, you'll start thinking, was it too good to be true? Is the dream over? Was it just luck? Is this the beginning of the end? Am I going to lose everything? Are you like that, or is it just me?
So I really, at the beginning of the month, so here's basically how this all started. In mid-August, I went to Colorado with my cousin and my brother, and that was when I decided to be a swing trader.
Yeah,
and as it turns out, you can't just use day trading size on swing trades and expect to make money. So that started off, I went into about a $30,000 drawdown and then made it back the day I got back to Texas. I had a $40,000 green day and I was like, all right, perfect. We're back to normal. As it turns out, we weren't back to normal. I just nailed like 2 great setups that day. So anyways, back to the question is once after I hit that new high again, literally from that day on, I went into a drawdown that I haven't been able to recover from yet. And for the first like 2 weeks of the month, I was like, oh my God, maybe I just got lucky. And then I started really hardcore digging into my stats, my charts. And what I've found is that, for over a year and a half now, I've been trading one setup, one very specific intraday pattern, a couple of daily chart patterns, but like one pretty common setup. And the fact of the matter is that, I always heard this well before I became profitable, is you can never rely on one setup in your trading because markets change. And what I ended up realizing is that, unfortunately, the setup I did really well with when the market was going bananas, it is dropped in effectiveness. And what I've noticed is that not only has my win rate dropped, which is fine. I've gone through, even while the market was hot, my win rate has dropped, but my risk reward remained, relatively speaking, between 2 and 3 to 1. So it was always fine. Well, now most days my risk reward is roughly 1 to 1. Even on the best setups, I might get 2 to 1. Not the best, but and the problem is the win rate doesn't justify that right now. Like that right now, this is not profitable. And it's just simply, there's not enough buyers on these low float runners. I shouldn't say that. Multi-day, they work.
Yeah, but what can I just clarify what the main setup is, like roughly? It doesn't have to be exact, just so the audience can be in the picture.
Yeah, for sure. So basically I'm buying tight consolidation breaks off of either multi-day breakouts, multi-day range breakouts. And the problem, normally it would be a multi-day breakout, but the issue is multi-day breakouts have been really choppy lately. they'll break out, then close below the breakout, then gap over the breakout, then dip back. Like, it's not clean right now. So I've been focusing more on the multi-day trend breaks. And then like specifically one of my favorite easy scalp setups was about a bounce long, first green day and exhaustion day gap up. And those have just, I mean, as seen with SPRT, now GREE, HLBZ, IPHA, like these former massive runners are simply not bouncing. And when they do bounce, they'll gap up and then just chop around all day. There's really no clean intraday breakout. And so longing has definitely been a little bit tougher in this market. I shouldn't say tougher for the setups I trade. I have seen some longs doing well. Again, it's more multi-day though. Like CEI is the biggest one I can think of, but there are these really, relatively speaking, slower multi-day runners. I mean, back when the market was hotter, we'd get these stocks that they'd run 200% intraday. And then even when the market slowed down, we'd still have the multi-day runners were still 300, 400, 500% over the course of a week. And there was always really strong intraday setups. And I've definitely noticed a lot of the moves are happening pre-market and after hours right now, which is definitely made it a little bit harder for me. GBR was a good example the other day where I was long end of the day for that, Bowen style VWAP, end of day VWAP break. But the move happened after hours. And so it's definitely just been harder, but it's been good for me because this has been my time. I've slowed down my losing. And I'm working on just really it was going like this. And now it's more it's a very slight down and I know it'll recover, but this has been a good time for me. Yeah. Stop the bleeding. You know what I mean? And, now this is my time. I'm working on just kind of learning some other setups, familiarizing myself with some short setups that I have not tried yet, but just familiarizing myself with them, getting data on them. And ideally in the next year, I'll have at least 2 other setups in the toolkit.
I mean, I just want to stop you there and just some words of encouragement. I just want to say that I love you, brother.
Dude, I appreciate that. And the same goes to you.
Sending the love.
What?
I'm just sending the love.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that.
But the audio, you can hear okay, right? Or it's iffy?
Yeah, it was choppy for a second, but I can hear you again now.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the exact same thing is happening to me. You would think if longs are doing well, then shorts aren't doing as well. But dude, my gap and crap setup, like I literally turned $600 into over $100,000 on that setup. And this was over the last 2 years, and it just worked very, very well. Then all of a sudden, the setup would be like, I would take drawdowns on it that were ridiculous. And I'd be like, these drawdowns never used to happen, and now they're happening. And then the drawdowns just turn into massive losses. And then now I'm fucking addicted to short and gap and craps because my brain has made so much money doing it, but I physically can't do it anymore. I did it today. Like this one worked, but dude, like I can't stop shorting the setup that no longer works.
Well, and do you know what's crazy about that too is I remember, do you remember going back to 2018, 2019, where you'd get those gap and craps, but the beautiful part about them was you always got a pop. Most of the time you got a nice pop to short into, you could risk pre-market high. Yeah. They don't pop anymore. The ones that crap, literally it's straight death drop. And there's sure, you can short the open and risk. The risk reward is not justifiable on it for me. Because that was something I was looking into is the gap and crap. And right now, dude, they don't even pop to short into.
Dude, the gap and crap is the worst setup in the world because it washes and you can't short the wash. And then you think, okay, like we've had a big drop. I'll short the higher low. I'll build in. Those motherfuckers just grind back. They grind back. They slowly grind between till about 11 o'clock. Hold, get very tight, right? And you want to take the long? Take the long. It dumps heavier than life itself. Take the short, the motherfucker squeezes on you and you think this can't be happening again. So you hold it and then it's one that runs. And it's a coin flip. There's no edge on that because it can go either way. I
found the same thing. And definitely one thing too that I'll note that I've seen, I don't have any data on it, but it seems that the best gap and crap reversals so far are happening on multi-day runners, the ones that reverse and turn into longs. Multi-day runners, I have Emrin, Ader. What was the other one the other day? There was one that just happened. I'll try to think about it. I'll try to think of it. But
EDSY?
What's that?
Was it EDSY? EDSY was one.
Yes,
well,
I believe EDSA worked. I don't remember if that never closed at highs though. I don't. Oh, maybe it was.
Nah, it pushed after hours. Even I can't remember.
Yes. Well, either way, like the ones that work the best for a long, and this is the long that I'm noticing works, is that it's that midday VWAP break and it consolidates right above it. And the only way to really justify the long is to keep that risk really tight, and basically your risk turns into VWAP, which is where it's consolidating. But
yeah,
in terms of the short, like it really does, because that is the logical spot to short, right? Is that pop into VWAP, and then half the time it seems like, okay, yeah, it'll fade into oblivion, and the other times it'll squeeze your nuts off.
Yeah, and often it's just a really tough short, and you just, I mean, basically the way I see it is the ones that kind of grind and hold, the more chance of being longs, and the ones that like really drop and then have a sharp bounce, they're more likely just to reject, because it's a little panic rather than a grind. It's a panic of like shorts bounce covering rather than like a slow grind of this is going to turn into a proper trend.
Yep. I agree, man. I agree. It's a tough market out there right now. But again, there's always money to be made. It's just, it might not be your setup.
Yeah, but dude, I'm just worried about being homeless on the streets of Mexico. Like, I literally need to, I've literally dropped the Gavin crap, right? For now, I've dropped it. Like, I'm trying to drop it. I'm looking at like maybe the day after, like, day two, if it's like 80%, day two of the Gavin crap, or like first red day after a big run, like the stuff like the EV sector when that ran. And I'm looking at some longs, but then when I see you not doing well on the longs, I'm thinking, should I even try this?
And like I said, man, I know there are people making money on both sides. It's just the way that I long, and apparently the way you short, it's not working for our setups right now. Like, and it's just something you have to accept. And like you said, now you start looking into some other setups, some other strategies for when this kind of market condition comes back around. Now, today we're recording this on what day is it? The
Wednesday,
the 29th. I mean, we had some crazy runners today. CEI broke 4, PALT went from like 5 to 12 or something. But this has been kind of a one-off day so far for the majority of low floats. I haven't seen a really solid all-day runner in small cap land. And that makes it hard for shorting too, though. Like you said, and we're going to go back to it again, just because something is up doesn't make it a short. And just like, you have to have the right entry criteria. People don't understand that.
But let's be honest as well, dude. Like, we had a crazy, I mean, was it from January last year? January this year was the most insane market I've ever seen. And everyone was calling it a bubble and all that stuff. And like, we had coronavirus. I would have accepted like the market's dead. I would have thought, the market's done. But it was crazy anyway. So you've got to expect some quiet times.
I mean, like, I think the people, it's the people that don't expect the quiet times, that expect this to last forever, that are the ones that are largely at risk for blowing up. And that's like why I've always, every day I go into the market saying like, I'd rather expect there to be nothing than put expectations that it's going to be so hot and like so crazy. Because if I expect the market to be slow and let those setups come around, I'm more likely to not take stupid trades and then only focus on the one or two setups that are like, all right, this is a clear long. And unfortunately, it's really hard to tell yourself that on the days where a ton of stuff is gapping up. And those are always the ones that I get caught in. And today was looking the slowest it's been forever. I remember I was talking to Roland this morning and I was like, I don't see a single stock I like. And as it turned out, PALT, CEI, DATS offered some great trades that unfortunately I only took CEI and DATS, but they offered some great setups though.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's one thing that I respect about Roland. Like, Roland can just shut it down, go play some golf, love life. He's dead up. Well, he's like happy. I'm speaking for him, but he seems happy to just shut it down and switch off. Where maybe for you, for me, I've still got a point to prove as a trader. I've still got something to prove to myself.
I couldn't agree more. And that's Roland. Me and Roland are supposed to potentially go golfing after this call, because it's a good way for me to just walk away from the markets. You know what I mean? But I feel that same way. Like, and I'm sure a lot of new traders do, especially ones that are just finding like that initial burst of consistency is like, now you're addicted. It's like, for me, you know, when I get in a slump with like working out, what gets me back into it is seeing those results. And it's nice with like working out because you can always control that. But with trading, it's like, once you see those initial results, you get addicted, you get hooked to this feeling of like, oh my God, I'm making it. Now it's time to exponentially increase my size. It's time to trade more. It's time to make some more money. And if the market doesn't want you to make more money, if the market doesn't want you to size up, it will let you know. You know what I mean? And it's, can you accept that? That's if you can accept that, you're going to be fine. If you can't accept that, you're going to continue to use too big a size on setups that aren't worthy of that size. And it's all like a psychological battle. It really is. And that's, as is the case with both of our drawdowns. I'm assuming it's a psychological battle for you too.
Dude, it's a disaster. I mean, but literally, I tried to trade less with a bigger account. It didn't work. I just kept on pushing buttons of more size. So I just went down to a small account. So I literally couldn't. So like if I'm trading with like $2,000.
No, and a good, really, I think this is something that you and I are both doing right now that is extremely important for like any trader. And I remember when I first came across Tim Sykes, I remember him like at one point saying in a video or something like, it's better for people to trade with small accounts because it forces you to take smaller size, you know. And like for me, I had $500,000 in my account at the beginning of the month. And then I was like, this market started to happen. And every time I took a big loss, it's like, all right, I have to take more money out of the account. And I'm down to, I withdrew a lot of it. I'm down to a $50,000 or $70,000 account right now. And to me, you know, that I'll still be able to take one or two good positions at a time, but I cannot physically be in 4 positions at a time, 5 positions. Like I don't have enough account size. And
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
No, dude, I was just saying I've done the exact same thing. Like when I was trading with a bigger account, like I was trading with a bigger account and a smaller account. And for me now, I just went out and $2,000 account. I can still make $400, $500 a day, but I can't take 4 positions. I've only got to take the one stock that I think is definitely going to be a good trade. Once I've made like $300, that's like a 20% growth in the account. I don't want to trade anymore. I'll just grow my account 20%. So you can still make money, but you just don't do stupid things when you've got less. Like say, if I've got 10 gallons of water in the desert, right, and I don't know when I'm coming home, I'm going to give one of them gallons of water away. So I'm going to think, you know what, you look thirsty. Do you know what I mean? But if
Yeah,
I've got
100%.
2 bottles of water, I've got 2 bottles of water in the desert, and I don't know when I'm going to find some water, I'm not giving the second bottle away to someone else, even if I like them.
You're thinking,
You know what I mean?
thinking about, you have to think, yeah, you're going to think about yourself and your safety first. And that's a perfect analogy, dude. Like if your account's too small, you're going to keep what do you get? Like you're not going to let yourself blow up that account. And I see this on Twitter all the time. Like really the more successful traders, they're really big on, you know, paying themselves along the way. And paying yourself normally means taking money. Well, it actually always means taking money out of your account.
And look, and if you've got problems with risk, I'm like, look, just me risk is rubbish right now. Like cutting risk is rubbish right now. It's something that you've always been good at. But I'm like, look, if you can't cut your losses, at least trade so small that if you do want a really bad drawdown and it's really bad, you're down $150. Like if your drawdowns are going to be terrible, make sure a catastrophic situation is a $200 red day.
Yep.
If you can keep them like that until you can cut them.
Yep. I could not agree with you more. That's well said. You're going to make sure you're going to take a big loss in terms of the account, but you've taken money out of your account. It's a much smaller account now. And it's going to be way harder to have those big red days. You're going to have to be doing a lot wrong. And if you could still have a big red day with a tiny account, it's probably, you got some other emotional issues you got to work on first.
But other than that, like, dude, like you've done fantastic. You've done a great job. You've grinded, but like you're doing a great job. This is like, we saw other great traders go through like what they feel is a terrible downturn, then look at the profitly chart, and it's actually a very small blip. And you're going through a small thing.
And that's always what I'm telling myself. And, this is like one more word of wisdom for those of you who might be in a drawdown yourself. So my last big drawdown when I was at $40,000 in profits. Actually it was 35,000. And I had a drawdown period where I lost $4,000. So I was more than a 10% of my equity curve drawdown. When the market got hot, that turned into my average day was $4,000. And like you said, like I look at my P&L chart, and I can't even see that anymore. Now, am I saying I'm ever going to get to the size where I'm making 50K a day? Who knows? Probably not. Not in the near future. That's a lie. I will one day, but that's not my goal. But it's just like these drawdowns now that hurt you in the short term. Those are what turn you into a great trader, because eventually once you get everything sorted out, your risk, your setup, and once everything is clicking again, you have that confidence back, that will turn into a blip. Like it might turn into an unnoticeable amount of money on your equity curve.
So dude, we're both like survivors right now. I mean, do you know how like hedgehogs like stock up on a lot of food, and then when it gets dangerous, they just hibernate under the ground in the soil?
That's what we're doing right now. We stocked up on our money.
Just like two little hedgehogs.
Yes, dude, that's the title of this video. Stephen Johnson and Bryce Tuohey, two little hedgehogs.
But two fat little hedgehogs under the soil. Two fat little hedgehogs.
Two fat little hedgehogs sitting on a pile of cash.
Apart from I don't have much. I'm secretly starving.
I hope people are laughing as much as we are right now, man. I really hope people watch this and aren't like, these two guys are idiots.
No, but dude, like, I mean, honestly, the market's weird as shit. I'm just holding back. What advice would you give to other traders? I know I've sized down, stop the bleeding. I don't want to go out and I'm crying in the toilet and someone says, what's wrong? And I say, I don't know if I'm going to make this a trader on my night out to a stranger.
Yeah. I guess the biggest, and I give this advice to everyone in small cap rockets, because like that, and this is especially, this should be new, or I say it to them, especially because like as a brand new trader, you're probably not profitable yet. And it's going to take some time to be. And so for anyone who is A, in a drawdown, or B, not profitable, you need to make it. And I guess you should do this at any time, but more so now than ever. You got to commit to journaling. You have to. Like, it sucks. It's not fun. But journaling, most of the time you think you know what you're doing wrong in your trading, but then you journal it all down for a couple weeks at a time, like a couple weeks straight, and you say, oh my God, like when you're about to place that trade, you think back about that mistake you made, that you wrote down in your journal. Like, well, why would I buy here if every day I have to write out? For me, I take 5-10 trades a day in a slower market. So if I'm writing out 5 or 10 times a day, why am I buying here? Why am I buying here? Why am I buying here? Eventually it's going to click in my head when I'm actually taking that trade. Well, I don't want to sit down tonight in tonight's journal entry and write down again, why did I buy here when I made that same mistake? It's just a way for you to really ingrain it in your head, the issues that you are going through. And then in real time, you're going to look back at that journaling and be like, I'm not writing this down again. I'm not going to let myself write this down again tonight.
Yeah, no, because I used to always save charts, right? But say you take 10 different trades, you'd screenshot 10 different charts. You'd flick through them really fast, but then you're not really taking it in what you're looking at. And then see you've got 30 days, that's 20 days of trade, and that's 200 charts, 250 charts. I don't see a consistency of what's going right and what's going wrong there, really, unless you really go through. But for you, for journaling, it's different because it's most in-depth written analysis of each trade.
Yeah, and that's for me. I take about 15 to 20 minutes per trade I take, which one encourages me in a slow market to trade less, because I do not want to write as much at the end of the day. And two, though, like you said, if I'm taking, let's even just call it 5 trades a day right now, because that's basically what this week has been. I'm not just going to remember every mistake I made in that chart, but if I'm taking 15 minutes to break down everything I did wrong or right on a winning trade, everything I did wrong, like that's what's that that's what, an hour a day. That's 5 hours worth of just writing out every mistake I made, how stupid I was. Like that adds up. That's 20 hours a month of how much you messed up. Like that adds up, and you're going to remember that in real time.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like I certainly feel I'm at the point, I'm sure you do too, where I'm not gaining that much from watching like educational material anymore. So the real education now is self-critical analysis, really.
And I've definitely noticed that being a thing for, once you have your strategy, your setup down, you need to dial into that. And like watching educational content is fantastic when you're trying to figure out what you want that setup to be, to learn more about that setup. But then once you have that dialed down, you are consistently profitable with that setup. The real learning then comes from refining your already defined edge. And that's going to come through data tracking, journaling. Less on the
already defined edge. Sorry, I just had to repeat that. Refining your already defined edge.
I think it's important, right?
I just love the way you said it. It's a coined phrase. It's a book. It's a book title.
I could write a book on that. I could definitely write a book on that.
No, but sorry, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No,
Really
I was done there. No, I was done. That was like, I was just saying like that is exactly what, for those of you that are watching that already are now consistently profitable, but you're like, how can I do better? How can I fix this drawdown I might be going through? Like refine your already defined edge. That's like that. That's how you do it.
Yeah, but dude, it's like when something's not working, you've got to stop doing it. Like I struggled for, like I was up like 40,000-50,000 this year, and give it back, pretty much give it all back. Just repeating the setup that didn't work, and it's not like I'm a bad trader. I don't think it's more like I learned a really bad lesson to next time think the next time something doesn't work, stop fighting it, just move on to the next.
Yep. And it's hard to do. It's a discipline thing. You know what I mean?
Hard.
It's really, people really not underplay how important discipline is. Underplay how much you're going to struggle with that discipline. Like you can hear it 1,000 times that you're going to struggle with discipline, but until you go through it, you're not going to realize how undisciplined you are. And every trader that takes a loss they shouldn't take is undisciplined. And it's about really working on making you less undisciplined.
Yeah, but I'm sure one thing you'll see as well is the market changes all the time, which makes it even harder, because you can think I'm not one of your setups that's not working right now. You can say I'm not taking that anymore because it doesn't work. And then you see one of them work really well. And you think, maybe it's working again, but it's just a one-off. And ultimately the setup has bad probability now.
Yep. And that's that, like going full circle here. I think that's why it's important once you are profitable to start working on getting a second setup going. One that works in a slower market condition or a choppier market condition or a different one. Right now, this kind of vibe from just this month, kind of like 2019 vibes where any gapper just instantly shit the bed. Longs were really tough, not a lot of follow through. There's definitely more volume now than there was in 2019, but the runners are weird. The gappers, day one gappers, there's not a pop to short into and they just fade all day. And then if they look like they're going to be a long, they probably are going to fake you out.
Yeah, but then again, if all the gappers just faded all day, I'd be a millionaire. And dude, there's gappers are just a lot of them are like, there's a lot of gap craps that are running, like a lot of like the worst ones as well, like the worst ones that shouldn't run are running. I've been squeezed. Say I'll short 3, I'll make good like 500. I'm up like 1.5 and 2K, not bad. It's kind of a slow market. Fourth one, I'll just lose 2.5 grand, and I'm down 1,000, and I'm just like, you should cut your losses faster, but it's just the gap craps are reversing like they didn't used to.
No, yeah, I'll give you that much. They do definitely reverse, and then they fake you out, and you'll go long. They'll dump again at the end of the day, but they already hit your stop if you're a short. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to trade those right now. It is, and I get sucked into them too, man.
But I mean, not to worry. I mean, the positive side is, I think any struggle always creates success. I think any adversity always breeds learnings and success. And I think you have to, there's some good quotes on it, but you absolutely have to struggle to make money in the longer term. And we've both been through the struggles, and it makes you resilient, and you've just got to keep going and think about where you've come from and where you are. And you're certainly a lot further ahead than me, but dude, you're a grinder as well. But dude, we've both got good lives, you know.
100%. I couldn't agree more, man. And we're gonna be just fine. These struggles, or it's gonna really help us turn the corner. It's gonna make the next round of success that much better. It really will.
Yeah, and in terms of longs from last November till now, I'm learning them, but I feel the most comfortable I've ever felt taking long trades. So yeah, we'll just see. But do you have any final thoughts for the steady traders out there?
No, I mean, honestly, I think everything I hit was a lot of what I kind of wanted to talk about during my, about this drawdown. And for anyone that's going through that, really listen back. And again, it's going to come down to discipline and putting in the work. If you don't put in the work, your drawdown's not going to stop. And when it does, and when the market turns and gets really hot again, you're going to just lose that much more when the market slows down if you don't put in the work now. So put in that work, guys and gals.
No, absolutely. And if you don't want to put in the work, or you can't put in the work, or you can only do an hour or so, trade small size. Just trade small size. But that's the wrong message. Put in the work. But and until you get it, trade small size.
100%. Oh, 100%. 100%. Small size is key. 100% agreed.
All right. Well,
yeah, man, that's everything I've got.
Well, on the subject of keys, I'm gonna put the key in the door, turn it, and lock the door on this podcast.
Yes. I like that.
And just say, look, Bryce and I are going through some struggles. I mean, when you say struggle, it's a red month. Going through a red month. I was green last month. I'm red this month. But we're both sized down. We're both looking at other setups. We're both waiting for the end of the storm and where the dawn will have its new bright day. And otherwise, I hope if anyone's got any questions or anyone's got any comments on the YouTube section, how's your trading going? Hit the comments. And otherwise, fantastic to have you on here, Bryce. Fantastic. And over and out.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thanks so much for watching and being part of the Stocks to Trade community. We wouldn't be here without you guys. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Our goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but we can't do it without you guys. So if you like what we're doing here and you want to hear more, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.